What's everybody, or what's up, everybody? I can't even talk today. I'm so sorry. Welcome back to Hammer Time. I'm your host, Jace Hinton, and we're back with another guest. But first, before we introduce our lovely, amazing guest of the day, a couple sports headers we got to hit real quick. NBA draft is tonight. It is Thursday. We've had a little scheduling issues with the podcast, but no worries. We're here now. That's all that matters. Um, Prayers for Coach Prime as he is having an emergency surgery on his groin. As most of you know, I am a diehard Colorado Buffalo fan, and having Coach Prime at the university has been the biggest blessing the university's had in a long time. So prayers for Coach Prime as he goes into that surgery today. All right, that's it on the sports headers. Let's introduce our amazing guest. I've worked with her. We became really good friends in my first year at Highlands. Let's go ahead and introduce yourself, girl.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alesa Darley. As Jay said, we work together at Highlands. I just recently graduated from Highlands with my master's, so big girl. I ran track there for 5 years under Coach DeVries. And yeah, I got the pleasure to work with Jace my last year there.
Girl
So
comes out and goes, "Yeah, no big deal. I got my master's." What? Like, she just says it so casually too. Yeah, I got my master's. Like what?
No, I know. It's still so surreal. I actually am, well, I'm from Vegas, as many people know, went to Robertson. Then Coach DeVries picked me up. Then I was blessed to have a track scholarship. And then I got really involved with just the student life because I was working really closely with Shanna with SAC. So I was able to be co-president for SAC for the last 3 years. And then I got my undergrad. So I was lucky to get that in health education, actually. And then I finished up running my last year. And then I decided to go the sports career wise. And then I got my master's in sport administration this past May. So
she's
yeah.
she does it all, literally. Like there, when I first started working there, it was like, all right, find the people that you can surround yourself well with, and Mario and Tyler Rogers. The people have seen Tyler multiple occasions on my YouTube channel, and then obviously on the podcast. And then obviously Mario, got to work with all three of you. But once basketball season hit, Mario and Tyler, they had to go play. So here I am,
Yeah, they did.
the only person I knew outside of Fred, our boss, was Les, and it was like, okay.
Yeah,
So
no, it was so much fun having you come in for basketball. I was working football with Tyler and Mario, and then you came in for basketball, and it was really fun. Um, I liked the fast pace we were doing for basketball. I thought it was really fun.
oh yeah.
We had a good time working for Fred. It was a joy working the social media with you
Mhm.
guys and doing all that. I thought it was really fun. Hit a couple of viral videos.
We did.
So
Yeah, she did. Not just. I think it was like you had like what, two, three?
yeah, my first viral video was the volleyball team. It was with
Yeah.
Layla Hooks. Layla Hooks had that monster block, and I
Mhm.
think it reached like 16,000 views or something like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, she
It
was the
went.
one who let me capture that great moment of her.
It went crazy. Like it was just like the next day. I remember Les coming in and going, "Chase, you gotta see this," and I'm like, well, "I already seen it. Like, what you mean? I seen it. Like, when you posted it on the athletic side, I'm like, I've seen this. Like, what do you mean?" She's like, "No, this," and then she shows me the views and the likes, and I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
how? But like that's just it just happens. The social media algorithm worked in our favor those few times we had that.
It was a cool transition going from running to working for them.
Mhm.
I think they had seen me in an athletic side, and I was kind of immersed through the athletic side.
Yeah.
And then being able to take a step back and be, like I like to say, retired NCAA athlete.
Yeah.
Jim always laughs at me when I say that. But it was cool to take a step back, see how the media side of athletics is. And I love Instagram. Everyone knows that I'm a social media girly.
Mhm.
And being able to run our social media full time was fun. I was posting every day, getting paid
Yep.
to do that. It was fun, and working with all the athletes and getting to meet all the athletes from a different perspective and not competing was really fun as well.
Yeah.
And Fred was really cool. So,
And that's the one thing about social media that I'm very active on my social media, with everything I do in terms of the NIL, the podcast, the YouTube. Like I'm very active on my social media, but I hate being on my social media at the same time. So it's
I
like a
feel you.
love-hate relationship for me with the social as I clean my camera off really quick. For my love-hate relationship for social media, like at the same time though, social media is such a big factor in everything we do nowadays. So let me
Especially in the
ask
sports.
you, yeah,
Go ahead.
especially in the sports
Shoot
world.
away.
Let me ask you, why did you want to get involved in working in sports in the first place?
Oh, okay. So everyone knows Malika Andrews.
Mhm.
She is my idol. I have always loved sports. I came from a big sports background. My grandpa played in the NBA. My dad played for Highlands himself, and then my uncle, my stepdad, everyone. So this past year, I was trying to figure out what I really liked. And I
Mhm.
love administration work in sports. And Shanna gave me the most divine call and asked me if I had wanted to go this route. And because I had always wanted to go into coaching, thought coaching was
Mhm.
really fun. And Shanna had asked me, and here I am
Here,
working sport communications.
hey,
I think that's like the easiest way to put it. I
yeah.
wish it was like a Cinderella story, but I think we're like social media is growing in sports. And if you just have a niche for it, you can really grow, and it gives the chance to expose athletes. And I like to try to give back, and I love being from New Mexico and just seeing the involvement of sports here,
Mhm.
because I started playing like when AAU wasn't that popular here in New Mexico. And you see now, like, you can go into social media and there's cool highlights of athletes, there's interviews, there's all these things, and it's so accessible, which is so much fun to be
Yeah.
able to create. So,
And
yeah.
we live in a world now where, we were talking about social media, but the NIL. I mean, that's when the NCAA passed that, at first I'll admit to it, I was anti NIL. I'm like, you're paying athletes like Arch Manning or Shadeur Sanders or Travis Hunter that are these superstars already just because of their name or whatever they are, whatever they did. But then I got into the NIL world and I'm like, hey, I understand it now. Like people that don't understand why the NIL was passed, and they only see the big names, the Cavender twins, the Livy Dunns, the Shadeur Sanders, the Travis Hunters, the Arch Mannings, and they don't look at the small
Yeah.
sport guys or the small sport women. I mean, even the Cavender twins, before, women's basketball was popular now, I feel like women's basketball has had a growth in sports,
Yeah, I
you
agree.
know?
I agree.
So I feel like,
Especially after this past March Madness.
yeah,
So,
I mean, you had Miami make a run at it. You had LSU, who, if you followed women's basketball, you knew they were good. But then
yeah.
they went out and they did what they did. And then after that, they went in the transfer portal and they got Van Leaf from Louisville.
Mhm.
Like, so, I feel like that's a good thing to see. And, the Women's College World Series is popular. So it's starting, women's sports, I definitely think is starting to grow,
Grow. Mhm.
which is what we need, I feel like,
Yeah.
personally.
I agree. I agree.
And
As
that's
well
coming
as
from a male.
No, thank
So,
you. That's really cool that you acknowledge that because it is a growing population and it is growing within like as me transitioning working um in sports now. Like you've seen, I was for football, I was the only girl in
mhm,
the press box of 7 male counterparts and that could be intimidating.
mhm,
But if you like at for young girls, they see me doing that and they can
mhm,
see that like she's doing that, I can do that as well. And it was really cool because this past weekend, I was able to work for John Vestal. As many
mhm.
people know, he's one of the sport photographers for Highlands. I have had the pleasure to know John literally my whole entire life. He went to college with my parents at Highlands, actually. Yeah, I know, small world.
It's crazy.
I know.
I can't go
So we
around Vegas without less knowing somebody. Like it's just
right,
yeah, oh yeah,
right.
I've known them since I was like 3. It's like great.
Cool.
We can't go. I can't
So
go
yeah,
anywhere with Les in Las Vegas, New Mexico, without her knowing someone.
New Mexico, period. I feel like
Literally
you just
though.
know anybody and everybody, but that's the greatness of it. But um, the cool thing that I was able to do was go travel with John to Pueblo, and it felt like my life came full circle. But so I was working the Colorado All Star games this past week. And it was really interesting. Being a New Mexico kid, when we have North South here, it's what we
Mhm.
call our All Star games because they like to keep it red green for the chilies, you know.
Mhm.
Even though New Mexico's chili is better than Colorado's. I'm sorry. This is
There's no doubt
on.
about that. I ain't even gonna
This
argue
is
that. Like
yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Okay,
I
so
mean, and
it's not a debate.
I'm a Colorado until I die, but you know what I mean. Like I ain't gonna argue that.
Yep. See, okay. Well, so this past week, like I was saying, it was cool getting to see like the high school all stars in Colorado. Just the talent and just seeing the many teams that they're
Mhm.
trying to do and the inclusivity kind of like they had 4 teams apiece, which
Mhm.
it equaled out to roughly like 400 athletes. But, those aren't the best of Colorado athletes. But those kids, those are the last time those kids get to go and play.
Mhm.
And sometimes those are like, I was able to interview probably 400 athletes. There was other kids that were able to go and play at that sport, at the games. They were going to play college
Mhm.
for another completely different sport. And that's really cool to see kids just having fun like that
Yeah.
because if I could do it again, I would do it again. But yeah, it
Yeah.
was really fun.
I
It was
feel
really
like
fun.
I feel like one thing that people don't realize is kids need to play as many sports as possible. I played
Yeah.
3 sports growing up. I played football, I played basketball, and I played baseball. I got into high school and football, I was kind of like, I felt like I was too small to play football, so I got out of that. Basketball, I tried out, just kind of wasn't the thing for me.
Mhm.
I'll admit to it, I was cut from my high school basketball team.
It's okay. So
So
is Michael
yeah,
Jordan. So is
yeah,
Michael
and
Jordan.
I did that, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, basketball was just kind of something to stay in shape. I need to
Yeah.
focus on baseball. And I did. I focused on baseball full time from there on out. And um, my junior, no, yeah, junior year of high school, the year of COVID, my school wanted to start a men's volleyball team. I went out and tried out. The coach I
Yeah.
knew pretty well. I did play that for a little while. Didn't last very long because of COVID, obviously. And then I ended up actually it was my sophomore year. My COVID year was the year we got a new head coach because the previous head coach had been taking another job somewhere or whatever. But
Mhm.
that didn't last very long, but it happened.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
I
it's
mean, yeah,
okay.
I just like the fact that kids, there still is that multi-sport athlete part of life. I mean, there's so
Yeah.
many athletes that we can name off that have played multiple sports in their life. I mean, MJ. I mean, we were talking about him just a second ago. I mean, that's one of them.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, so okay, so let me ask you this though.
Yes.
What is it? How? I mean, it's difficult. I know this from working with you and hearing your stories and whatnot. But how hard is it being a woman in sports, working in sports?
Um, like I was mentioning, it's a growing population.
Mhm.
You kind of have to have that confidence to just go and know that you're going to be possibly working with males,
Mhm.
and just having that confidence and having fun. I think that's what I've really noticed, for myself. That's why I really love working with you guys. You guys were fun, a bunch of group of
Yeah.
gremlins, but but it's it can be difficult. Yes, I think know, there's not many,
Mhm.
and that's when you kind of have to be that representation. And I feel like that's where I'm at, is just being that representation for like little girls that look like me, for girls just in general, and for
Mhm.
anybody, because it is, you know, the hours working in sports, it's a lot, but it's rewarding, it's fun, you get to be a bunch around athletes. And yeah, I get to be a girl on social media. I think that's the most rewarding job there is. I mean, what more can you tell me to do?
Yeah, and I'm the first to admit to it. A lot of my relationships from Highlands have come from just being around all the athletes.
Mhm,
Working, doing the public address. The basketball team got to know me really quick. Both men's and women's got to know me really quick.
mhm.
Uh, but I'll tell you guys this: I needed help. My first phone call, y'all would think would be, oh, the boss. No, it was Les. My first phone call, Les. Well, what do I do? And then she go, yeah, I don't know. And then I'd go, Dad, you're supposed to. Like, if she didn't know what to do, then I'd go to the big boss. And big boss man, Fred's going to see this. I'm sorry, Fred. But yeah, Les was my first call because I was terrified to call you.
Yeah, yeah, and 99% of the time we got it figured out. I
Yeah.
think that
Most
was
of
the
the
cool
time,
thing.
that was the thing about, I feel like, our group that we kind of had for basketball. Me, you, Fred. Um, we brought Isaiah Johnson in
Mhm,
last year. We had Maya Aspirin with us for quite some time there as well.
mhm.
But that was the thing about, like, especially the five of us, that we had, even though we had brought Isaiah in a little late, he meshed real quick, with us.
I agree, I agree.
So we were the five of us. It was easy, hey, go to this person, then go to this person. If this person doesn't know what this, then this person will.
Yeah, yeah.
So there was a lot of moving parts of that
Yes.
worked though, and we
Yeah,
made it work.
I agree, I agree. I thank you guys tremendously, especially Maya. Maya was very
Yeah.
helpful, working with me with the women's and men's basketball team,
Mhm.
because, my passion is basketball. I've always
Mhm.
loved the basketball scene, and they let me really rock out with my graphics
Yeah.
for the men's basketball team. I thought that was really cool and really fun to do, especially because I'm gonna admit this on there. I had no idea what I was doing with the graphics. That was my very
Yeah.
first time doing graphics. Fred had given me the passwords and said, "Go crazy, Les," and I was like, "Wow, that is a lot of
Yeah.
freedom for me." But yeah, it was really cool being able to design the social media page to like
Mhm.
our liking and to do a good representation of the school,
Yeah.
because I love Highlands. Obviously a double alumni now. My goodness,
Yeah.
it's crazy. But I love the way the future is going to be for Highlands for sure, especially with
Yeah.
all these great hires and all of that. So
Yeah, lots of moving parts coming into Highlands this year. But you guys go check out NMHU Athletics. All the basketball graphics from last year, it's all her. like, and Maya, both of them really. I mean, you look at the first half of the year, it was all Les. Then you look at the second half, and it was Les and Maya both bouncing ideas off of each other, and all the graphics turned out great. I don't do graphics for a reason. If you ever see any of my thumbnails for YouTube, 9 times out of 10, that's me doing it. Okay, not even 9, like 10 times out of 10 is me doing it. But I think the easiest thing when it comes,
a little bit more credit.
I think the easiest thing when it comes to graphics, unless you can definitely, give your thought here, is taking ideas from other people.
Yeah. I try to personalize graphics, so I
Mhm.
really try to get to know the athlete or try to study their game.
Mhm.
And I think one of my favorite graphics was of Dante Moses
Mhm.
when he had that monster game of like, what was it, 42 points or something
Yeah,
outrageous. And
I called that game. I was on the
yeah,
broadcast for that. It was against Adams State. We had played Adams State the day before. It's Fort Lewis. Fort
yeah,
Lewis.
it was.
We had played Fort Lewis. It was right before Christmas break. Our boss Fred, he was sick, so I had to fill in. And
I was in Hawaii.
yeah, Les is in Hawaii. Fred's sick. Maya's home for Christmas. I didn't know Isaiah yet, and literally, Fred's like, "Hey, you're gonna have to go on the broadcast." So I'm flying. Like I had, Steve Davis. Yeah,
Yes.
he's our color for basketball. He was our color commentator. Which, for those of you that don't understand a word of what I just said, color commentator is like your guy like Bill Walton, or who does it with Mike Breen for the NBA.
Reggie.
Yes, and then Kirk Herbstreit for college football, or Jessica Mendoza and Alex Rodriguez for ESPN. Like that's your color commentators. So Steve was our color commentator. I hadn't done a broadcast with a color commentator before. I'd done the broadcast, but I hadn't done it with a color commentator. So I'm sitting there like nervous as all get out during the Adams game. And then the Fort Lewis game
Mhm.
happened, and Dante drops 40 some.
Yeah,
Yeah.
outrageous. Yeah, that was my one of my favorite graphics. I think my second favorite graphic was of Juliana, excuse me, Aragon, when
Mm-hmm.
she had that monster game as well. And
Fort
did
Lewis.
I literally made her look like a ad. It was so cool. So I
Yeah.
was able to um just really capture the moments of the athletes. And working with Chloe. Chloe's
Yeah.
photography really, she was the photographer that I worked with the graphics for. So
Mm-hmm.
shout out to Chloe. And yeah, I think we had a phenomenal group this past year. I
Yeah.
think the insights, the
I
social media grew.
yeah.
If you saw any of the tweets, that was us.
Yeah. She had Les carried the load when it came to the social media. I remember there was a couple times Fred's like, "Hey Jace, can you do the social media?" And I'm like, "You what? You want me? Me? Like
Yeah.
me? Shoot."
You were good. You were good. You were
I
good.
tried. I tried.
Yeah,
I
it
really
was
did
good.
try. It was not the prettiest thing in the world, but we did it.
Hey,
I
you got the emojis down. If you just
Hey.
get the hashtag right, it's okay. You just have
Hey
to get the
man,
hashtag right.
I love my emojis. I can do my emojis all day long. Okay, when it comes to working in sports for the rest of my life, I don't think it's gonna be hard to top this year's crew. From the fall all the way through the spring, it is gonna be very difficult for a team to top this past year's crew. Like
I agree.
2022, 2023 Highlands athletics team, all the way from our ADs to our student workers. I feel like it's gonna be hard to top that because we did so much that it wasn't like and we make it sound like it was you, me, Isaiah, Maya, Tyler, Mario, um we make it sound, and Fred, we make it sound like it was just that group, but that was just a group of the social media and the broadcasting and the public.
Yeah.
That was just that. Like,
Yeah.
the ADs, Jim and Shanna now, the co-athletic directors, we had to, go to them at times for ideas. Then we would go to, there was times I went to Maggie Metz for things, and there was times I went to, oh my gosh, I just remember Rhett, for things.
Mhm.
And the coaches even, I got to know the coaches really well. Coach Sherman of the women's team, Coach Dominguez of the men's team, Coach Ron Hudson of our football team, Coach Ashley Forsey of
Yeah.
our basketball team, Coach Dukes of our volleyball team. I got to know the coaches really well. So it
Mhm.
wasn't like it was just that core that we talked about,
Yeah.
but you have a solid core, everything else works.
Yes, I agree. I
So,
agree. I loved, like I said, I loved taking a step back.
mhm,
Well, not even taking a step back. I think retiring. I remember the first time I told Jim that, and Jim had known me since I was like 10. He was my sister's volleyball coach there at Highlands when he was a volleyball coach, and he just started laughing because, you know, it's fun. It's fun growing up and
mhm,
moving into working into sports, and then whenever you find like a great group of people, and I've worked with Shanna for years. I think I
yeah,
started working with her on SAC when she moved to Highlands in, was it 2018? So
mhm.
not to make us that old, but yeah. So
I mean, it's a high, and we've kind of gone away from everything we were going to talk about, but that's fine. That's what this podcast is about, is talking about whatever we want, you know. But Highlands is a very inclusive university. Like, it's not a big uni like some of the other schools, even in the RMAC. You know, Mesa's a lot bigger than we are. Metro, Springs, Fort Lewis, Adams is kind of like we are, but like everybody knows everybody. You can go around campus and say somebody's name, and somehow they're gonna know somebody through somebody through somebody some way.
Mhm.
Is it always the way you want it to be? Probably not, but it's a way they know them. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. I think the cool thing about Highlands is it's a very small university where you can really grow your, like, goals,
mhm,
and your, like, aspirations. I feel like this was, like, a great launching pad for me personally. I've
mhm,
grown, like, a lot of connections just coming out of Highlands itself. W I've when I was attending Highlands, I think I had 3 ADs,
mhm,
and then, knowing all the coaches literally my whole entire life was
yeah,
great, and then, just being able to get more jobs
yeah,
outside of Highlands. So, yeah,
yeah.
we'll see. We'll see.
And the world we live in now is not what you know. Sometimes it's who you know.
That is Fred's favorite line. That is
Mhm.
Fred's favorite line. So,
And I think I had to that was kind of part of my learning curve this year, was like, Fred's introducing me to all these people, and I'm like, man, this could be, I'm a freshman. I'll be a sophomore
mhm,
academically at Highlands. Athletically, I'll be a freshman. Um, but academically, I'll be a sophomore. I was a freshman. This was
mhm,
my first true year at school. We don't need to talk about the previous time I was at a school. um, but this was my first true year of college, and Fred's introducing me to all these people. And I remember asking him one day, I finally go, Fred, I got 5, maybe 6 years before I really need to even contact these people. He's like, it
mhm.
doesn't matter. It's who you know,
Yeah,
not what you know. I'm like, oh.
yeah, yeah. I
So,
agree.
but
He is the
yeah, he's got some one-liners that it's like,
yes.
he's right.
Method to his madness.
Yeah,
Method to the
there is.
madness. Yeah.
And we were talking about the women in sports community. It's growing every day. I mean,
Mhm.
the Women's College World Series, it had just happened a couple weeks ago, a couple months ago
Mhm.
now. Holy cow. Um, and it was Holly Rowe in the booth or on the sidelines, and then in the booth you had Beth Mowins, Jessica Mendoza, uh, Daniel Lowry, um, who all have women's sports backgrounds,
Mhm.
but still like, and now you see it's not just even they're doing women's sports, they're doing the NFL, the NBA. You
Yes.
look at the NFL Today crew, Lauren Shahadi, right? I think
Yeah.
she's the host. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, she's taken some time now. She's delivering a child, which is, you know, a big part of
Insane.
life. Yeah, so
Yeah.
you need to take some time away from the job, I would say. And then Mia Kimes. Or I think it's Mia. It's Mia, I believe. Um, she's part of the NFL Today crew. And then you have some people that are part of the NBA Today crew and the MLB Network crew that are all, so you start to see more of this integration of women in sport. And I'm a big advocate for women can do what we do as men, and people that see this might not like that I'm making this comment, but this is coming from a male. People understand this.
It's
Most
okay.
women can do what we do better. There's one thing
Wow.
that women can do that women cannot do that men can do, and that's called anatomy. And we're not giving an anatomy lesson today. If you want an anatomy lesson, go look it up yourself because I'm not giving it to you. I'm just not going to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, definitely in that world of things. So, Les, when, what, you went and worked that Colorado All-Star game.
Yes.
For
Yeah.
you,
Mhm.
after doing that, after all the experience you've had at Highlands,
Mhm.
I'm not going to ask what your next step is because I know you probably have no idea.
You know me
Where,
so
what,
well.
what is the end? Like, where do you want to be at when you're done working? Or what, like, do you want to work at ESPN? Do you want to work ABC? Do you want to work CBS? Like, is there like a company that you want to work for, or you just still want to be in sports?
So I would love to work in ESPN. I think the end game really
Hmm.
is to be a director of ops of a team.
There you go.
Yeah, I love the administration part. I love the media part. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
Social media is great. Going on, posting, tweeting, all that is great. I love the administration part. So to go be like a team owner or work with the team owners, sign
Yeah.
me up. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like that's a hard question to answer most of the time
It is. It
because
is.
if you told me when I decided to go to leave Ventura to go to Phoenix, if you would have told me, hey, you're going to go to Highlands and you're going to be on this sports team and you're going to be on broadcast and you're going to be doing public address, I'd have told you you're nuts.
Same.
And it worked out. I mean, I went in.
Yeah.
The original reason I even went into Fred, which I don't know if you know this, you might. I might have told you. Do you
Dang.
know the original reason I went to Fred?
No, but do share. Do
So the
share.
original reason I went to Fred was to run the baseball team social media. And
Wow.
Fred goes, "Why do you want to do that?" And I said, "Well, social media, they don't have a whole big social media presence." And what Fred didn't know was I wanted to be an SID. I want to be an SID.
Yeah.
When I'm done playing, it's either SID or, if my broadcasting and this podcast keeps up, I want to break off into, the sports radio, the sports, media, the broadcasting area of things.
I see it. I
I'd love
see
to,
it.
I'd love to, ESPN is my end goal. So
Mhm.
we'll be honest at that one.
We'll be together again. We'll work
Oh yeah,
together again.
no
Yeah.
doubt, no doubt in my
Yeah.
mind. But, you look at, Fred was, oh, well, do you want to work in sports? I'm like, yeah, actually, I didn't know he was our SID. Fun
Oh,
fact.
wow.
Had no idea.
Yeah.
I thought he was just the radio broadcast because when they introduced, we had this big old pep rally at the school, and you
Mhm.
introduce all the coaches and the athletes, and he comes up. This guy, big tall guy, comes up, and he goes, "Yep, I'm the voice of Highland Sports. I do the broadcast here." And after that, I kind of tuned him out. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was like, "Oh, okay, this is a guy that does a broadcast. That'd be kind of cool to just meet him or something."
Mhm.
And so I was like, "Hey, I went to Coach Hunt at the time. He was the head coach of the baseball team. I go, Coach, who do I contact about um, running our social media?" And he goes, "Oh, we'll contact this guy, Fred Slow." I'm like, "Okay." Didn't tell me he was the SID. Had no idea. So I get a hold of Fred on the phone. He's like, "Yeah, hey, come into the office." We were getting ready to have a soccer game that day. He's like,
Mhm.
"Hey, come into the office. We'll talk, and then we'll go to are you going to attend the soccer game?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'll attend the soccer game." I was attending all the sports anyways because, I love sports and I knew some of the athletes.
Mhm.
So I attend whatever. And I go to Fred and he's like, "Well, what do you want to do?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, I'd love to be a sports information director." He goes, "Oh, so you want to do what I do?" And I'm like, "You're our SID?" He goes, "Yeah, you didn't know that?" I said, "Would I be looking with like big eyes if I knew
Dude,
that you
you're
were
like,
SID?"
yeah.
Like, yeah, I wouldn't. Like, I was like, okay. So
That's
the original
funny.
reason I even went to Fred was to run our social media for
Yeah.
baseball, and I ended up doing what I do now.
Do now.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had the pleasure to meet um, a lot of SIDs just to communicate through, getting rosters or stats or whatever it may be, coaches to get, stories for the broadcast and name pronunciation. And there's some names that I don't know how some of these people do it. Like the name
Right?
pronunciation, it's like, yo, like I
Yeah.
think we had a team this year come play our men's team. They had a kid from uh, Czechoslovakia.
Czechoslovakia?
Yeah, that's
Yeah?
a big word for Jace.
Oh.
Um, and I read his name and I look at the coach, I go, "I ain't even gonna try."
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
even gonna. They're like, "Just say his first name." I'm like, "Great." I can say his first name. His last name was, I swear it was Russian. I was like, "Dude, that ain't
Somebody
a chance. Ain't no chance I'm even gonna try that."
That is funny.
So
Yeah. I couldn't even do what you do. I would I have to do the
sometimes
back scenes of all of it.
I feel like sometimes there's people that can do their job that do my job better than I do. They'll name it on the first try, and I'm like, I ain't even gonna. No, I'm not even just gonna try to mess it up. I'm just gonna go get it.
It's okay. It's okay. It be like that, you know?
Yeah. So, Les, I think there's one more question I wanted to ask you before we hit the rapid fire round.
Shoot away.
Let me try to remember it because we've been talking. I feel like we've talked about everything
I
that we wanted
know.
to.
Yeah.
So the end goal would
Mhm.
be ops. Okay, that's the
Yeah.
question.
Mhm.
Is there a specific team, specific city, maybe?
You know, I would love for LeBron to just go and retire already and open up his NBA team so I can do that, you
Ah,
know? Is that
that's
too much in the
fantastic.
future? Is
Oh,
that a great
that's
answer?
that's fantastic. I
That's my
love that. That's
answer.
funny.
That is my answer. Um,
LeBron, get it together, bro. Come
LeBron,
on.
yeah, yeah. Or if the Las Vegas Ignite sees this and
Mhm.
wants a social media person, I am available. Actually, I'm available to work for anybody right now.
There you go. There you go.
So,
Hey,
yeah, yeah.
hit her phone up, people. Get it together. Come on now. Come on, figure it out.
Team, whatever team.
All right,
So,
rapid fire.
okay, let's
Are you ready
see.
for this?
Hopefully.
This question's not typed up. This question I'm actually just because we talk and I think it's gonna be funny. Most famous
Okay.
person in your contacts or DMs? Y'all saw that. If you guys are watching this, y'all saw that face. She knows that I know, and I just want her to say it.
I a G League basketball player that is probably the most famous. Actually, you know what? The most famous contact person in my list is my grandpa who played in the NBA.
Yeah, I think
So,
that's a pretty solid one too.
my grandpa who played in the NBA. Yeah.
Tell us, you told me this, and I didn't know this. Your grandpa played in the NBA, but wasn't he a part of some big trade?
Yes. Okay. So he played for the ABA. Well, he's one of UNM's greatest
Hmm.
players to ever come out, and then he went and played. Let me recollect. He played like for 5 different ABA teams.
Hmm.
So I think the last two that I know is for the Utah Jazz or the Utah Stars, and then that was the big trade to the Utah Jazz. So he went overseas, but he was able to play alongside with Wilt Chamberlain for a little bit
Yeah.
at the Sixers when he was there at the Sixers. And yeah, so my grandpa knows all of those people.
Yeah. That's a
Very cool.
pretty big name, if I'm being honest with y'all. Wilt
Yeah.
Chamberlain, like, yeah, that's normal. Not
I
people.
know,
Come
I
on.
know.
um, favorite time of day?
7:30 a.m. Yeah.
Oh, specific.
Well, just like the 7, like is that dusk or dawn? Please excuse me.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I have no idea
You're
either.
asking.
God,
You're
we're
asking
gonna
the
get
wrong person.
canceled. I know, I know. Yeah, but like morning time.
Morning. Think that's what I was looking for, but hey, that's cool. That's fine.
Yeah, so
Whatever.
7:30 prompt, please.
Um, favorite type of music, and then your favorite artist in that genre.
I'm a big hip hop rap girly. So
Mhm.
I think like my favorite artist, oh, that's kind of hard. I think can I say 21 Savage? Is that
That's
a
valid.
great? Yeah, okay.
That's valid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
valid with that. Um,
Okay.
is there like a current song that you can listen to on repeat right now?
It would oh my god, you're gonna have to make me pull out my phone. I'm gonna probably expose myself, but 4 Minutes by Justin Timberlake and Madonna.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I've been on a big Ariana Grande kick lately. So I mean,
Yeah, okay.
I'm just out here exposing myself. I mean, if people know me, they know that 2010s and Taylor Swift, Justin Bieber, Ariana Grande, I vibe with all of that.
Yeah,
So
we've
come
sang
at
our
me.
hearts out to Keith
Exactly.
Urban together.
We did. We did. That was
So,
a great song
we
too.
did. It was a
That is a
great
great
song.
song. If you could have dinner with any celebrity, who would it be? And it can be an athlete, it can be just a straight up celebrity. Doesn't matter who.
You know, I would say Adam Sandler.
Oh,
It's
okay.
yeah, yeah, Adam Sandler. Yeah.
Okay.
I think that just goes without saying.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think you
yeah.
need even a reasoning, just Adam Sandler. I think
No,
that's your reasoning
no.
right there. If you don't know who that
Adam
is, that's your
Sandler.
problem.
Yeah, yeah.
I
Two
think you
athletes at a
explained this.
time. So,
Yeah, you
go ahead.
explained this already. But let's just give it again. Idol growing up.
My idol, FloJo.
Okay.
Lawrence Griffith Joyner. Greatest, fastest woman alive, or not alive anymore. So sorry. May she rest in peace. But yeah, she was one
Yeah.
of the fastest women alive in her time. So
Yeah.
I think, and she was a fashion icon.
Yeah.
Every track girl knows her. I think any athlete knows
Yeah.
FloJo. Oh yeah.
Yo, when it comes, just a side note of this, when it comes to fashion and drip, Les takes it any day of the week. Les and Fred, when they show up, this literally, I was not into shoes at all. Like I had a couple pair of Jordans whenever as a kid, but when I started working with Fresh and Led Fresh, wow,
It's a combination. You
Les
just
and Fred. When I started working with them, and Fred would show up with these Jordan ones, purple and white, and Les would show up in these outfits, and I'm like, I just got a polo and khakis and some just running shoes, and I'm like,
You know the
all right, we got
sports
to figure it
world.
out. Like,
The sports world is fashion. You have to
yeah,
have drip. You have to have a little bit of drip, you know.
yeah.
But thank you for.
I've started wearing the chains a little bit.
I see. I
I
see.
have 3 chains now. This hammer chain I've had forever. I just don't wear it because when I go to play, it hits me in the eye, and I don't like that.
No.
I purchased some Jordans recently. Couple. Well, I got them as gifts, so
Okay.
have a couple pairs now. Compared to
Okay.
my one pair that I had, I now have 2. But yeah, in terms of
On the come up. On the come up. I'm
in
excited
terms
to
of
see.
fashion, Les takes it for sure, no doubt in my mind.
Thank you. Thank you.
Um, actually, Gatorade Powerade.
Powerade, blue
Okay,
Powerade.
okay,
Till the wheels fall off on that
okay.
one.
All right.
Hmm.
Favorite restaurant.
Oh, wow. You know what? The Rainforest Cafe. I think
Okay,
that's so silly, but yeah, the Rainforest Cafe. You go for the vibes. You go
okay.
to experience that you are in a fake rainforest with some mid food, but it's for the plot.
It reminds me of there's a place in Denver. The food is, oh my gosh, and I should know it by heart. Oh, Casa Bonita.
Oh,
Mid food, but great experience. They got a gorilla jumping off of a cliff into
yeah,
water.
you have to go
Like
for that.
you just got to go for, and they're reopening today.
Oh, there you
Let's go.
go.
Anyways,
Dink.
okay. Now that we're off the side note of random topics, this is a
Mhm.
normal conversation between Les and I. We break off into 7
All
different
the time.
topics.
All
Like
the time.
this is normal. Um, is there like a show that you're binging right now that you want to share with the people, or like recommend a show for them?
Modern Family.
Modern
I
Family. Okay.
Yeah, I'm binge watching Modern Family. I think if you know me, you know that my humor
Mhm.
is very close to that. So, and my life is very close to that as well.
Yep. Yep. No doubt about that.
Mhm.
All right, Les. Like 2 more, and then we'll get you out of here.
Shoot away.
Um, is there like a cause that you think is really, really important that you want to like make people aware of?
So I'm a big advocate for Black Lives Matter and all that. I was actually able and fortunate enough to host the Black Lives Matter march alongside a couple of the other athletes 2 years ago
Mhm.
at Highlands. And then we got our names in City Hall for Black Lives Matter Day in Las Vegas. So that was really cool. So I'm a
Yeah.
big advocate for that. I think all of them, but
Yeah.
that one kind of hits close. So.
Yeah. No doubt about that one. Last one, and then we talked about being a woman in sports,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of learning experiences you've had to have.
Yes.
What do you think was the biggest one?
What was the biggest one? Mm, I think being confident, being driven, and just knowing what you want to do, and
Yeah.
knowing sports, knowing just knowing what you do. No one is going to know if you don't know something.
Yeah.
So just go and do
Yeah.
it. Just go and have
Yeah.
fun.
Even if you have the knowledge, yeah, we were talking about it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah.
But if you have the knowledge, nobody can take that away from you.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have that crazy, you can remember anything when it comes to sports. I'm one of those. I can remember the 2014 draft like it was yesterday, and the NFL and the NBA.
Yeah.
And just crazy sports numbers and things like that. Nobody can take that knowledge away from me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that being
I
highlighted.
agree. Yeah.
All right, Les. Well, girl, thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know why we didn't get you on here sooner. I'm glad we
It's
got you
okay.
on here though.
Yeah, it was my pleasure.
This
We're
is
both
great.
busy. We're both
Yeah,
busy. A
both very
Gemini and
busy.
an Aquarius.
Yep.
What more? What more?
Yeah, seriously. So in terms of hammer time, we're doing 2 a week. Obviously this week was a little schedule jumbling because both, like Les said, both her and I are very busy. I'm doing my best to keep it up to 2 episodes. But thank you all for watching and tuning in and listening. We're trying to get this on more platforms than they already are on in YouTube and SoundCloud. We're trying to get it uploaded to Apple Music, Apple Podcasts, whatever it is. So when that gets on there, you guys just keep checking in on the Instagram. Personal Instagrams, JSentonCO. The JMH Productions CO is the company, well, not really company one, but basically the company one. Les, you want to throw it out there for the people?
Oh, my Instagram.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you guys can follow me at Alesa Darley, Alesa. And then my Twitter is Alesa with 2 A's at the end, and Darley. So
There you go.
you'll see me tagged in Jason's photos. All of that.
Yeah, just go to that.
Best hype man. So
Yeah, literally, just go to the Instagram. Her Instagram will be on there when I tag it for the post. I'll also put it in the description here on the YouTube for that. Les, thank you, girl.
Thank you.
To all the listeners and
Thank you.
watchers, we'll see y'all next time here on Hammer Time with a new guest.